What's up, guys? Welcome to another video of DevTalks with your host Travian, where we talk about everything engineering and technology wise. And in this video, we're going to be reacting to another Lex Fridman clip when he's talking to the CEO of Google. Now, apparently, they're worried about AI taking more jobs, and we're going to dive more into that. So, without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and let's dive right into this.
AI is getting really good at programming. Gemini, both the agentic and just the LLM, has been incredible. So a lot of programmers are really worried that they will lose their jobs. How worried should they be? And how should they adjust so they can be thriving in this new world where more and more code is written by AI?
I think a few things. Looking at Google, we've given various stats around 30% of code now uses like AI generated suggestions or whatever it is. But the most important metric, and we carefully measure it, is like how much has our engineering velocity increased as a company due to AI, right? And it's like tough to measure, and we kind of rigorously try to measure it. And our estimates are at that number is now at 10%, right? Like now across the company, we've accomplished a 10% engineering velocity increase using AI. But we plan to hire more engineers next year, right? So because the opportunity space of what we can do is expanding too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think hopefully, for at least in the near to midterm, for many engineers, it frees up more and more of the, even in engineering and coding, there are aspects which are so much fun. You're designing, you're architecting, you're solving a problem. There's a lot of grunt work, which all goes hand in hand. But it hopefully takes a lot of that away, makes it even more fun to code, frees you up more time to create, problem solve, brainstorm with your fellow colleagues, and so on, right? So that's the opportunity there. And second, I think it'll put the creative power in more people's hands, which means people will create more. That means there'll be more engineers doing more things. So it's tough to fully predict, but I think in general in this moment, it feels like people adopt these tools and be better programmers. Like there are more people playing chess now than ever before, right? So it feels positive that way to me, at least speaking from within a Google context, is how I would talk to them about it.
I just know anecdotally a lot of.
I think these CEOs have came to an agreement somewhere to where they're all speaking the same way now. I did a review on Fiverr CEO and how we talked about efficiency and everything, and now we're seeing the same thing from Google CEO in a sense. But if this was true, I feel like Lex probably asked the wrong question here, or he might ask the wrong follow-up question, because I would ask what kind of jobs will be getting impact for this, because yes, they are still hiring engineers. They do that. But the thing is, where are they hiring these engineers at, and where are these layoffs taking place at? Because Google just went through layoffs actually the other day, and I'm going to be doing a video that comes out after this one about Google and layoffs. Convenient enough, right? That all of this stuff just falls into place like that. It's really convenient because he's asking him about it, but he's also not going to try to instill fear into his own company, because who wants to do that? Then you get people leaving, going somewhere else, and you're missing out on talent and whatnot. I feel like they have to be more clear on where they think these jobs are expanding to, because they're actually going to be hiring engineers in probably the AI fields for different AI features and projects that they have going on. And it's just going to branch out, and they'll have that major division over there. But every other project and stuff is going to be taking a toll because you cannot scale and grow too fast. So I think those are kind of the questions that he should allude to. Maybe if he did, CEO might get uncomfortable, might not be prepared to answer a question like that. Who knows? But that's kind of more or less what I'm thinking on my side here.
Great programmers are generating a lot of code. So their productivity, they're not always using all the code. Just there's still a lot of editing, but like even for me, it's still programming as a side thing. I think I'm like 5x more productive. I think that's even for a large code base that's touching a lot of users like Google's does. I'm imagining like very soon that productivity should be going up even more.
The big unlock will be as we make the agentic capabilities much more robust, right? I think that's what unlocks that next big wave. I think the 10% is like a massive number. Like, if tomorrow, like I showed up and said, like, you can improve like a large organization's productivity by 10% when you have tens of thousands of engineers, that's a phenomenal number. And that's different than what others cite as statistics saying like this percentage of code is now written by AI. I'm talking more about like overall
actual productivity.
Actual productivity, right? Engineering productivity, which is two different things, and which is the more important metric. But I think it'll get better, right? And I think there's no engineer who tomorrow, if you magically became 2x more productive, you're just going to create more things. You're going to create more value-added things, and so I think you'll find more satisfaction in your job, right? So,
and there's a lot of aspects. I mean, the actual Google code base might just improve because it'll become more standardized, more easier for people to move about the code base because AI will help with that. And therefore, that will also allow the AI to understand the entire code base better, which makes the engineering aspect. That's what I've been using Cursor a lot as a way to program with Gemini and other models. Is like one of its powerful things is it's aware of the entire code base. And that allows you to ask questions of it. It allows the agents to move about that code base in a really powerful way. I mean, that's a huge unlock.
Think about migrations, refactoring old code bases.
Refactoring,
yeah. I mean, think about once we can do all this in a much better, more robust way than where we are today.
I think in the end, everything will be written in JavaScript and run in Chrome. I think it's all going to that direction. I mean, just for fun, Google has legendary coding interviews. Like
before we get into the interviews portion, and I'm gonna go back just a little bit before he goes into that. The one thing that I will continue to stand on and agree with when they're talking about is the efficiency stuff. I don't want to sit here and get that wrong, right? 10% growth in efficiency is a large number, and companies would pay a lot of money to get that growth, and they would invest a lot of money to kind of get that 10% growth in efficiency and things just for on a flat rate. And just being so honest and serious out of that. But another aspect of here, like, yeah, if an AI system is integrated in your whole entire code base, right? It can help you a ton with migrations, especially if it understands the other tools and migrating that it's going off of, because it's getting trained, especially if it's getting trained off of all of these other code bases and things. And that's what they mean by it getting standardized, right? So now you might have a data migration or a migration project in general that instead of it taking a year and you put in a year timeline on it, maybe it goes down to 3 months just because of your use of AI. Who knows? I'm just spitballing, throwing out numbers here because even Fiverr CEO was talking about how something that could take 3 months could take 3 days or a week or whatever he said. He gave 3 weeks or something crazy of an acceleration time frame based out of it. But yeah, the easier it is to use, the more that less people that you would need for specific projects, I'm assuming. But I'm assuming at the same time that these other engineers that are being brought in will all work in AI divisions to help develop the AI further or build on new products and stuff that aren't already templatized, standardized, or being maintained. A lot of the ops projects and DevOps projects that you really think of, or anything that's being maintained, that work will be kept for the few. And it will be a lot harder to get into those areas. I think they're going to use AI to help maintain a lot of it and figure out how most people are going to be able to do that. But that's kind of where I'm thinking this is kind of leading to and alluding to, in a sense of how this is going to be better for their companies.
Google has legendary coding interviews, like rigorous interviews for the engineers. can you comment on how that has changed in the era of AI? It's just such a weird, the whiteboard interview, I assume, is not allowed to have some prompts.
Such a good question. Look, I do think, we're making sure, we'll introduce at least one round of in-person interviews for people
Yeah.
just to make sure the fundamentals are there. I think they'll end up being important. But it's an equally important skill. Look, if you can use these tools to generate better code, I think that's an asset. And so, I think so. Overall, I think it's a massive positive.
So for me, right, I don't believe AI should be being used in the recruiting process just yet. And I'm partially out of somewhat of experience, but also from other people. Whenever applications now ask if you want AI to review it, I don't think it really gives many people a fair shot. It may skim through a lot of the people a lot quicker and picks whoever it deems to be the top people, and you go off of that. And maybe it works for the company, but for the actual people applying, it's so hard nowadays, especially when it comes to you need references or referrals to even get a recruiter to even message some people or whatnot. And you have to like pretty much get all this information in yourself and kind of figure out how you're going to best make your resume or anything, because your application is mainly going off of your resume alone before you can talk to a recruiter and whatnot. But also the idea that it's changing the interviews. A lot of interviews that I've seen so far, I haven't heard of a question yet of how would you use AI to better your code base, or how can you use it to better it. A lot of them is leave AI alone, especially for coding problems and whatnot. Some allow coding AI and for finding solutions and stuff of the issues and whatnot that are getting proctored. So I think it really depends on the company and where it's going to say. They're always going to have at least one inhuman human to human contact, as he said, because it's the whole human element of it and just figuring out like the person knows what they claim to know and whatnot, and going off of that information. I believe that's one of the like biggest things. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will be dropping another video right after this one goes live, a few hours after, maybe another day after, about Google's layoffs, because they're trying to keep everybody not scared in a sense. And I feel like part of the truth is not being spoken out loud, and it's up to certain people to actually speak about the truth or what is actually going on out there, and realizing to put these puzzle pieces together for us to really know how to navigate this new journey that we're all going on, because the world is shifting constantly. So once again, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you want to send me any recommendations, send me an email at devtalkspod@gmail.com. And we started the TikTok, so go follow the TikTok. Link will be in the description down below as well too. Peace. See y'all next time.